Severe to extreme heatwave warnings remain in place for most of Western Australia, Queensland and parts of northern New South Wales and the Northern Territory. Temperatures will climb to the mid-40s in some areas, and it's not just people who need to be careful as the mercury rises. Almost half of Australian households have at least one dog, and overheating can lead to the worst of consequences if precautions aren't taken. Dr. Quain is from the Sydney School of Veterinary Science at the University of Sydney and is with me in the studio. Just come in from outside and obviously it's pretty hot out there, isn't it?
It's very warm, yes.
So how dangerous is heat to dogs?
Heat's really dangerous to dogs. There's two types of heat stress that we worry about. One is high ambient temperature and the other is exertional heat stress. And when you put those things together, that's a really fatal combination for dogs. So it's important that people exercise their dogs in the cooler parts of the day, in the morning or in the evening, and avoid overexerting their dogs on these really hot days.
What are the symptoms of heat stroke in dogs?
So heat stroke can be a little confusing. So people are used to seeing dogs when they're hot panting and things like that, but when they've got severe heat stroke, it can look like collapse, it can look like bloody diarrhea, they can be vomiting, they can be a bit wobbly in their walk, so they can be acting a little bit strange.
If you see those symptoms, what action should you take?
Cool the dog first and then transport them to the vet. And the easiest way to cool them is apply cold water on them, cold towels, making sure they don't overheat by being insulated by the towels, and getting them to an emergency vet as soon as possible.
Does heat affect different dog breeds in a different way?
Absolutely. So the most at-risk dog breeds are the flatter-faced dogs, so the brachycephalic breeds, your French bulldogs, Boston Terriers, bulldogs, things like that. But also we know that double-coated breeds are affected too.
What about taking your dog to the beach or to a lake, to water? Basically, humans love to do that, don't they? That's how we cool down effectively. Is that a good idea for dogs?
It is, but I think a lot of the time when we are playing with our dogs on the beach, we're doing things like running around and throwing a ball on the sand, and that's not cooling them down. So avoiding taking dogs to the beach in the hotter parts of the day is important, and avoiding exerting them at the beach on these hot days is critical.
So what are your best tips then for keeping your dog cool and safe when the temperature rises like today?
So check the weather reports always. Make sure you've got a nice cool home. If you do leave them in the home, make sure there's ventilation, make sure they've got access to cool water all day. Have a neighbour or a friend check on them on hot days to make sure that they're okay. Or if your boss is amenable, take them to your workplace, if you've got a well-behaved dog, of course.